So they say that falling in love with birds is a sign that you're getting older. Well, heck, I guess I'm older because all of a sudden I have this affinity for birds. It happened on the 2nd of January this year, 2025. I was on Stewart Island for my New Year's adventure, and I decided to take the trip out to Over Island, which is a 5-minute water taxi away, right? It's this cute little island there, and it's a perfect sanctuary for birds. There are no pests there whatsoever, so birds can thrive, right? I was actually planning to run around the island, right? I had my running gear on, but the guy in the water taxi, he said that the whole point of going to this island is so that you can kind of walk slowly around the island and really appreciate the birds, right? Because if you go too quickly, the birds are going to run away. You need to go slowly and at this relaxed pace so that the birds can kind of come around, right? And so we arrive on this island. I'm by myself, right? The other people go off, and I go into the kiosk at the start of this island, right? And there's this corner with walking sticks, right? Just sticks, okay? And I pick one up, and I'm like, all right, let's just kind of casually wander around this island, take it easy. And so I, with my walking stick as the Blue Adventurer, I started wandering around this island, and I started listening, and I'm like, wow, I can hear the birds. I can't really see them yet. And about 5 minutes into the track, there's this man sitting on a bench. And I'm telling you right now, this man is the spitting image of exactly how you might imagine a bird watcher to look like. He was a rotund man, quite large, right? And he had kind of like a safari-like, outfit on. And he had kind of like a hairy chest, but it was like white hair. And it was kind of, like tufts coming out the top of his shirt. And he was wielding this giant camera, right? That was on the bench next to him. This camera with this really big lens, and around his neck were binoculars. And he had one of those like wide-rimmed hats. Like, it's exactly the image I have of a bird watcher. Like, I'm telling you right now, this man was the spitting image of a bird watcher. And I stopped and I chatted with this man, and he said, yeah, I'm here, like, trying to capture these shots of birds, right? He was a professional bird photographer. And I was just so fascinated that this man had literally come from somewhere in the world to this tiny island called Over Island just to photograph some birds. And that's when I realized, like, oh my God, bird watching is this very niche, unique kind of thing that people actually travel around for, and like they invest in camera gear for. And it's like, wow, am I missing something here? I was coming to this island to go for a run, and this man had traveled from like halfway over the world or something just to come to this island to photograph some birds. And so I started thinking as I continued on my way, like, this is, birds are actually really interesting, I guess. And then I started to like slow down and look around. I started to see them. I saw a red-crowned parakeet, I think, a kakariki, I think its name is. It's like a parrot with a red crown. And I was looking at that. I'm like, that is so majestic. Are you kidding me? I was like seeing it for the first time. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's actually really majestic, right? And like, I continued on my way, and I was walking down this track to this beach called the West End Beach. And I actually specifically wanted to go to the West End Beach because my friends Trapper and Mosey, who I was spending my time with there on Stewart Island, they told me that when they were on Over Island a couple of days before, they got chased down by a sea lion on West End Beach, right? The sea lion of West End Beach. Right? And so I went to West End Beach waiting for the sea lion. And I sat there and I waited, and he did not show himself. I was not able to find the sea lion of West End Beach, unfortunately. Anyway, I continue on my way, and there's this point in the track where I'm like, it's almost like waterfall. It's like this waterfall of dust or something. I'm just like, what is that? And then I look up, and then there's this big kaka, this big brown bird, like burrowing its beak into the wood there. And it's literally like raining these wood chips. And I just sat there, like, I stood there like, wow, that's amazing. Look at that bird. It was this majestic big brown bird. I must have seen one in my life, but I didn't appreciate it such as I was appreciating it right then in that moment. And then I continued on my way, right? And then I see this other man who also looked like the spitting image of what you might imagine a bird watcher to look like, but of a different kind, right? So this man was kind of leather bound. He was a leather bound man. He had like a leather jacket, he had a leather wide rimmed hat as well. And he was actually crouched in the grass there, right, on the side of the track. And he was aiming his camera. He was like a sniper, right? He was aiming his camera at the specific point in the tree. And he stopped me. He hushed me. He's like, shh, it's almost here, right? And I was like, oh. And so I sit down and wait with this man, and we're just having this moment of silence together, me and this stranger, right? Absolute bird watcher of a man. Honestly, what a legend. He also probably traveled from somewhere in the world to come to this island, Ulva Island, just to photograph some birds. And then we're watching, and then we see this little dart of color rather. Right? And then it goes away. He's snapping photos. It was only a flash, but I saw it. It was the rifleman. Such a tiny bird. Honestly, it's like you could hold it in the palm of your hand like such a small bird. It was flitting around and coming back to feed its chicks. Oh my God, that was just like such a moment. And so I was really starting to realize that, wow, birds are mystical. They're like incredible. Why do we take them for granted? They're like singing melodies. They give our world melody. Are you kidding me? I'm a musician, right? I'm here at the piano, okay? And like I play melodies. So birds were before me, like they were singing melodies long before we were. Like, geez, is that not a miracle? Far out. So, that is to say that I have developed an appreciation for birds, and I think that you should as well. Okay, that's all. Good luck, and I'll see ya.